Hello everyone and welcome back to Unity of Command. This is the campaign scenario of Voronezh from the Axis campaign of the base game. June the 28th, 1942. The summer campaign opens with a violent blow along the route from Kursk to Voronezh. Germans secure their flank along the Don, then send their armored spearheads south, sowing panic in the enemy rear. And this is another very easy scenario, even to obtain brilliant victory. What you're going to see is the first attempt. I didn't play it perfectly, but the strategy is kind of obvious, so with slight adjustments and doing a bit of a better job here and there, this should be a very easy scenario indeed. I still won it, obviously. So if you look at it immediately, you will see that the Germans outnumber the Soviets, or rather the Axis outnumber the Soviets. We're going to have Hungarians along with us this time. And not only that, but we receive 4 air attacks per turn and 1 logistics special action also per turn. So to increase our one of our supply sources, the range of one of our supply sources. On the other hand, the Soviets receive 2 air attacks per turn, and and this is one of the few maps where the Axis outnumbers the Soviets. So let's dive right in. The weather is perfect. The terrain is relatively quite open. We have a ton of mechanized or motorized or armored units, and so there is basically no real resistance to us. So you're going to say, what is the challenge of this scenario whatsoever? And the challenge is that both of the victory hexes, which are quite in the rear, have to be taken by the end of turn 3. So that is the only tricky part. It's not really difficult. I'll explain how it's to be done. So first of all, we have Voronezh, important Soviet population and industrial center. And to the south we have Lisky. Capture required to prevent bridgehead formation on our planned northern flank. Right. So as you can see, we are not planning to cross the river, the Don, here, and to advance beyond Voronezh. So there is a river crossing here, but it's only for the city hex. Other than that, everything is on this side of the river. And as you can see, this terrain is quite open. And by the way, this is one of the areas that is not that well played in the map. So we're just north of Kharkov from the previous campaign map. So anyway, the idea is very simple. You can already see the only supply route cutting through enemy territory. Push along the supply route. Also, you have some armored spearhead units in the south, so push along here, cross the bridge, or try to cross the bridge here, maybe link up if you can, and advance to the 2 victory hexes as fast as you can. Now, what I didn't do is that I didn't send any units to the southeast. Instead, I was more focused on connecting the 2 front lines or front sectors. So that's a slight mistake. As you see, it didn't cost me, but it's probably a better idea to reallocate or allocate some forces towards the south and to be a bit more bold than I was. As for the supply, we have here in the south an off-road supply range with a supply source with a range of 6. That's only going to suffice until the river roughly. And on the road we have 2 supply sources. From the north there is one with a range of 2, and from the south there is one with a range of 4. And I opted to raise the value of this one on both turns, so both first and the second turn. But that didn't work out because the Soviets managed to cut us off here both turns, so it was kind of pointless. However, for some reason they didn't cut off the northern supply route, even though they could have very easily done so. So it was kind of pointless, and I don't think any of my units ever get out of supply, even for 1 turn. So what's kind of crucial here is to hold Kursk and either one of the supply routes, and just advance to the east. You might want to reinforce the northern one instead. We'll see. That is because of forces allocation, by the way. So as you can see in the south, east we are very powerful. In the northwest we are also very powerful, but in the middle the front line is partially held by Hungarians, and the Hungarian infantry is totally useless. They do have a Hungarian panzer unit here, which is actually quite strong, so it can be used at least offensively. But I first moved it to the north, thinking that it would be of more use there, you know, in our offensive. You might want to send some German units to hold this front line. The Soviets might still be able to break through, by the way, but the Hungarians are definitely not going to hold it, as you will see. So the idea is to strike here along this supply route, strike to the north from the south, and just, you know, get to the victory axis as fast as you can. The whole Soviet front line is going to crumble by itself, by the way. And we have some excellent tools at our disposal. We have veteran panzer divisions in the north. Two of them with 7 active steps. One of them has even a Sturmgeschütztreue attachment. Special step. This is our best unit on the battlefield currently. We also have 2 motorized divisions. One of them also has a Stug. You don't want to remove this special step. You could theoretically do that and reattach it to a tank, but that means that you would have to miss it in 2 turns, and this scenario has to be finished in 3 turns, so it's kind of a waste. We also have the Großdeutschland Panzergrenadier Division, which is an excellent unit, elite, 7 steps, and the Stug 3 special step. This is also one of your best units, or perhaps this is the best unit. I don't know. They're both excellent. Nothing the Soviets have can match these 2 units of ours. In the south, we have also another Stug and on a motorized division, and 2 panzer divisions with 6 and 7 steps each. So they're excellent units. As for the Soviets, they have a lot of special steps, T-34s all the way. T-34 is of course still their best special step at this moment. The NKVD is not that powerful. They have a couple of them, and as you can see, even though their tank units are decent, I think we even outnumber them, or at least very easily match them, and our tanks are far superior. And they don't have many experienced units. In fact, it's only these 2 that are standard infantry divisions. I know they have attachments, but that's okay. And a lot of the units are partially out of supply, at least, so suppressed. So it will take a while till they get back to full supply, and actually we can take advantage of this situation. We also have a bunch of green units here in the back, which the AI will try to bunch up in front of the victory axis, which is not going to work out very well for it. Okay, so let's see how it turned out. As I said, I always raised the range of this one source in the east, in the southwest, and let's strike along the supply route. This, you know, goes off without any issues. Obviously, we're cutting through them like a hot knife through butter. Yes, so and this is quite unfair, to be perfectly honest. And yes, don't be afraid to send this Panzergrenadier division against literally anything. Nothing the Soviets have even remotely match it. So so just, you know, use it to destroy the strongest or the most crucial Soviet formations. Here in the south, we're striking north, towards the north, and the idea was to try to capture at least this side of the bridge, which we're going to succeed in. And this unit I found kind of annoying. I was afraid that it would cut us off, cut our supply, run and capture our supply source, but we didn't manage to eliminate it, unfortunately. All right. So this is a pretty decent setup here in the north, in the middle. We have secured our supply sources. All of our fast-moving units are relatively far forward enough, at least, so that they can participate in battles. This is an issue. I should have replaced the Hungarians with some German units here on the supply source. I thought they would be able to hold on their own, but unfortunately they did not. They have no advantage. So it's an open terrain. There is no river here, no natural obstacle, nothing. So they're not dug in. So that was an oversight from my side. And I just realized that I haven't used any of my air attacks. not that they were needed. So I decided to try to destroy these straggler tank units so that I don't have to bother with them. The first one gets destroyed, the other one does not, unfortunately, so it was kind of a waste. In the next turns I use my air force better, at least. And yeah, see, the AI knows that we are vulnerable, and we absolutely are, so the Hungarians stand no chance against the T-34s. And so we get cut off, which is not a problem. As I've said, literally no unit of ours is going to be out of supply, but it's kind of annoying. And here they just bunch up in front of our faces as usual. They want to make sure that our progress is slowed down. And yeah, these two air attacks are inconsequential, fortunately. In the north they try the same, but to cut us off, but it doesn't work against the Germans, so they kind of give up. And yeah, their veteran tank corps unit is kind of formidable. This is probably the best unit in the battlefield. Either one of these two. But we'll remove them from the battlefield already in the next turn. So it's our turn. As you can see, nothing is out of supply, so it didn't work out. But I'm kind of annoyed at being cut off, so I decide to remove this unit. And I realize it's not going to work without some armored help, so I withdraw the Hungarian unit, which also doesn't work out very well. So this is getting kind of frustrating. Fortunately, we managed to suppress it and overrun it, so we destroy it. And at this moment, the supply line seems fine. So I once again believe that we are secure, but we are not, as you're going to see. Attacking across the river is never fun thing, but this unit is weak enough that we can take care of it. And yeah, so my idea was that we should fling around, you know, the river, but it's not the optimal strategy. This is better. So try to force your way across the bridge. And this time I used the air attacks correctly and attack the strongest Soviet formation, which is this tank corps, veteran tank corps unit. This unit might be stronger when it's in full supply, but it already has, or still has 3 steps suppressed. So and as you can see, their best unit goes down in one shot, and their other best unit also kind of goes down in one shot. So it's they're not strong at all. Their special step was still active, that's why they put up quite a fight, but this is over now. And yeah, nothing they have can match up against us. This is overkill, obviously, but I couldn't use it, the Panzergrenadiers, for anything else. And this was really great. This tank unit, our best Panzer unit, could reach these two units, which means that they could be hit before they were back to full supply. And that is quite helpful indeed. We actually remove both of them. And here I realized that we need to force the crossing. I now know that at this moment I know that we are going to capture this city. I mean, these units can destroy practically anything, but there are too many units here in the south. They are weak, yes, but there's too many of them, and we don't have practically anything allocated. So I decide to force the crossing. It goes without any problems, and yeah, so this works out. Yeah, and now I just want to connect to the road. As I said, I'm positive that we can hold the supply, so I'm not really afraid of any repercussions here. And if we could remove just this one unit here, then we could abandon a lot of the units. And this was a mistake. By removing the Hungarian unit from the supply source, our front line at one point is held by this weakened Hungarian infantry unit. And even though these two units are unable to attack the next turn, these two perfectly are, and they will be enough to cut through. So if I had left this Hungarian unit there, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have been able to cause any harm. What's worse is I remove all my units from the north, thinking that I can give up on the supply here. Fortunately, the AI doesn't cut us off. It would have resulted in a few, suppressed steps not coming back to active. It wouldn't have been a big deal, but whatever. Yep. So the the AI realizes the opportunity and seizes it. Bang. And yes. And that was pretty sad. So in both turns, the AI managed to cut us off. These units are not dangerous, or not. They can be removed the next turn, but it was quite. I was quite disappointed that I didn't see that's coming. I couldn't avoid it. This time, the Red Air Force is very successful. It actually removes 2 KIA from one of our best units, which was also pretty underwhelming, or pretty rather crushing to me. So it's time to exact revenge upon the AI. Because of the fact that we are cut off, a few of our units are out of supply, but we need to win this turn, so it doesn't matter. And all of the ones that did matter are in full supply anyway, so it's okay. And what we need to do is push towards this area as fast as we can. And now I realize that we're not gonna be able to allocate enough forces. Probably these 2 units are not gonna be sufficient. This tank is never gonna reach there. So I'll have to reallocate units from the north, which is okay. So I reallocate this unit that used to be our best but got weakened. It's perfectly enough to remove a green Soviet infantry unit from the map. And well, what do you know? The tank actually withdrew. I knew I still had air attacks, but I wanted to spare them as long as I could. And yeah, so we captured the southern point. And at this moment, I know I've won because because we're definitely going to capture this point in the north. We still have 4 air attacks and all of these units, and we don't need to spare them. So let's use the 4 air attacks on the city hex, obviously. And I also realized that there is a bridge here, and the AI is holding the other side of the bridge with this trash unit. So we're also going to remove that one so that we can move in better. And also after our first attack, this unit is breached, loses its special step, and it's practically worthless. And yeah, so this goes off without any problems. And now I still want to exact revenge, at least reconquer the hex, so the supply route, and this goes off without any problems. And I decide to remove a few more units, but as this one puts up quite a fight, I decide to give up on this idea and just enter the city hex. I couldn't have removed all of these units. This I definitely wouldn't have been able to even attack, and this might have retreated back into the city hex, causing me some grief. Also, probably these 2 would have survived. They have T-34s attached to them. So I decided not to fool around anymore and just capture the hex. So once again, this is roughly how you should do it. Be more mindful of your supply route here. Otherwise, it's a good idea to upgrade that supply source, by the way. Just replace the Hungarians with some German units, and that's basically it. Also try to allocate a bit more forces to the east. You can push directly to the southeast. There is a gap between the forests and the river here, so you can try that. And also force the bridge crossing a bit, a bit more strongly. You don't need to propel this unit to the north. Instead, try to propel it towards the east. So all in all, the southern sector, strategy could be a bit improved. But the northern sector was kind of perfect. Just do exactly as I did. And since you have so many units, you can allocate a few to help out the more difficult front sector, that is the south. That's it. It's not a difficult scenario at all. Just don't get bogged down, obviously, with the AI's slow-moving infantry units, which are in inconsequential positions, and it will try to remove them back to supply anyway. Not that it can. So if the map had gone on for long, then they would be completely out of supply in a few turns. Their only supply source is in the northeast, so once you capture this road, then they're basically dead. That's it. Have fun with this one. It's a really fun scenario, and it's the last really easy one before, if you're aiming for victories like this, brilliant, with no prestige spending, because all the rest ones are going to be quite tricky, and so the difficulty ramps up quite considerably. So savor this moment, and prepare for some tougher battles ahead. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time for some bigger challenges. Bye bye.